All right. Welcome back to Black Tower Tales following Wiggins and Nyx Shadow Cloak. I'm Body. I'll be your player dungeon master for today. And when last we left our intrepid adventurers, Wiggins had just cast a powerful magical spell that he's planning on using to destroy the sacrificial chamber that basically made him go crazy a few scenes back. And now Nyx and Wiggins are trying to, you know, run up the stairs, escape the dungeon, and get basically as far away from this explosion as they can. So my expected scene for what this is scene 16 is that they are basically running up, going through the dungeon, up the stairs, and then gonna hopefully pass the collapsed room that Wiggins fell down last time. But with Chaos 4, we get to test the expected scene. And we have a 7, so that's over the Chaos factor, which means the scene proceeds as expected. Let's see here. So, Nyx and Wiggins run through the dungeon. I'm gonna say I don't think there's maybe a chance. Let's ask the fate chart. Do they encounter some sort of new person or new thing in one of the rooms here? I think it's very unlikely. Actually, I say it's nearly impossible because we did determine that this dungeon is very quiet and it hasn't been that long. I'm gonna say there is some sort of chance. Maybe something came out of these spiral stairs in that first room. We got Chaos 4, so it's a 10% chance. Only less than 10, but we got 19, so no. So Nyx and Wiggins sort of run up through this main room, through the soup kitchen room, all the way up the stairs, and I'm gonna say that takes about 2 minutes. Maybe a minute and a half or something like that. And we've only got 10 minutes until the spell is going to explode. And now they need to get past the collapsed section of dungeon hallway here. They knew it was coming, so they sort of understand what the issue is. They don't have the ladder that they used previously, but I think using their combined, Nyx is pretty agile with her dexterity, and they're gonna work together in order to try and get across. Maybe they've got some sort of maybe rope or some way to attach to the side of the hallway. So I think it's gonna be an easy task for both of them. But let's see. Nyx has a +2, and it's easy, so it's target 10. So she gets a 15. Nyx gets across just fine, and then assisting Wiggins. Yeah, so he gets an 11. He's able to cross the collapsed side of the hallway. Maybe I think he saw the example of how Nyx crossed it and was able to step in the same places and grab handholds on the side of the wall in the same way she did. But now we get into this triangular room that in the center of it we see a large spiral staircase up. But what else is in the room, we need to be determined by this 6d12 roll. Because we don't know. We've not. Wiggins saw this room before he fell into the pit, but we have never actually seen what else is in the room. And now, let's see, the black die. Ooh, we have a 12, so that's definitely going to be a monster in there. Some sort of monster. Blue, 8. We do not have any sort of clues. With the white, we have a 2. That's nothing. The mottled, for 11, so we don't have any sort of NPCs. Yellow, there's no treasure. Clear, there's no other event. So basically, it's just some sort of monster in this room. And I'm thinking we are likely, like, we've had a lot of skeletons in this room, so I'm thinking whatever it is some sort of skeleton. Actually, yeah, I think that makes sense. We've got, we already know that this dungeon is related to, like, this chaos magic, and so I think, by walking into this room, like, Wiggins and Nyx see what amounts to, like, a skeletal sort of cultist shaman type thing on the wall. And the strange thing about it is that this shaman in this triangular room that has this spiral staircase, this shaman is something that is what? It's like attached to the floor, or like it's attached to the wall. Because there's a reason Wiggins didn't see it previously when he was on the other side of the collapsed hallway, is because this shaman figure, the skeletal shaman, is actually like attached to the floor and the ceiling on the sides. So let's draw a little face here, and a little skeletal rib cage. He's got some sort of hat. And he's got like a staff. He's got a little staff with a light coming out of it. Little skeleton twig legs. But I'm going to say the shaman was sort of just meditating over here in the corner, and that's why Wiggins didn't see him. He didn't enter the room either, so like there's no reason for the shaman guy to wake up and figure out what's going on. But now that they've entered the room, there's this guy is like, "What are you doing? How dare you enter my domain?" And the question is, what is this guy gonna do? Oh man. So the general monster intentions is something that we can do with the Solo Adventurers toolbook. And with a 62, the monster simply attacks purely out of instinct. So it's not really as simple as just attacking out of instinct. But yeah, with this, the shaman, actually, yeah, he's gonna up and cast some sort of spell at the two. I'm not sure. Let's see if there's some sort of table that will tell us. Yeah, the inspiration as far as what kind of spell this guy's casting. And remember, we've got only about like 7 or 8 minutes until this. Actually, I'll say that it took him a minute to cross the gap. So I'll say we've got about 6 minutes until the explosion goes off down below. Let's see, what kind of spell is this shaman casting? It's a 44 on descriptor 1. Gracefully. It's a graceful spell. So I think with what happens here is the shaman now is like detaches itself from the dungeon wall, and instead of like casting a spell at these two, what he's gonna do is it's a spell of levitation on himself that makes him sort of just like float up into the air here. And then with that, I think Nyx sort of like walks up past a little bit, and uh, the shaman actually, is the shaman even speaking a language that they understand? I think that's 50-50. I don't know. Chaos 4, and he gets a 40. So no, actually, the shaman isn't speaking any sort of language they understand. I think it's going to be like some sort of draconic. The question though is, does Wiggins recognize this as some sort of evil language or something? With his intelligence, that's a target 13 and +2. Yeah, so definitely with a 17, he realizes what the hell's going on. That this guy's up to no good. So Nyx sort of goes to the side. He's floating up in the air. I don't really have a good way to represent that right now. The shaman's sort of floating up in the air, casting, like, waving his magic staff menacingly. Nyx goes to the side and is just sort of preparing her bow to maybe fight. And then Wiggins is just, he recognizes the sort of the magic, that this isn't magic that he is familiar with, and so he assumes that it's related to the evil chaos magic that made him go crazy down below. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna try to do some sort of magic attack at the shaman with his magic wand. With a 4, yeah, that's definitely, even though he has +2, that's not good enough so he like tries to lash out with some sort of arcane blast at the wizard or the shaman, and it doesn't manage to do anything. So he shifts over to the side. This time, what does the wizard do? Or the shaman? 67. Oh, so he's just going to use some main attack on. I think he's going to attack Wiggins. That's the one that makes the most sense. But he's going to sort of point his shaman staff at Wiggins. And what kind of spell is this going to be? I'm going to use. Let's use the action table this time. Action 2. Oh, that's a. Well, it's going to hit, right? So 15 versus 13 target. So it's going to do it. What kind of spell is it? It's a 20. It's a depletion spell. So yeah. So this the spell that the shaman's trying to do. It's like he's trying to sap Wiggins of whatever magical energy he has. So like the shaman saw that Wiggins is trying to cast magical spells at him. So he like does some sort of blocking spell in order to make it so that Wiggins' magic casting from here on out isn't as effective. And so what his target is going to be 16 now for the next round. And then Nyx is going to, seeing that the shaman like is casting and doing magic stuff at Wiggins, and I see the visual I have in my head is like there's like this green energy that's sort of emanating from the staff and sort of trying to wrap itself and block off Wiggins from any sort of magic. She's gonna shoot her bow at the shaman, getting that's gonna be a 7. So that's not gonna hit. And just for the record, we've got 2 hearts that we're trying to do to beat this guy. I think he's more of a tough character than the other people they've seen. But this time, I think Wiggins is going to attempt to overcome the magic that the shaman's doing, and actually he's going to try to blast the staff out of the skeleton shaman's hands. So target 16. Oh, he gets a 19. Actually, he gets a 21 with that roll. And so not only does he successfully like blast the shaman. Oh no, he need a magic effort die. He is going to even like 5 + 3. He does 8 towards the effort. And so not only does he like successfully overcome the magic that the shaman's trying to like cast on him, but he lashes out with his arcane magic and blasts the hand off of the skeleton, causing a bunch of damage. The staff of the shaman sort of like cradles to the ground over on the side of the room. The shaman then sort of continues talking in this foreign language, and once again like waves his hands through the air. And what is this? Woo. Sorry about that. A 33. Oh, so he just continues using his main attack. So this, I think he's going to try to do some sort of damaging spell on Wiggins. The question I have is what is this? How would we describe this spell? I'm going to use the objects table this time. 18. Cute? I don't think that makes sense. We're not going to use that table. Crazy is on the character list. So I think this spell actually, it's like a domination spell on Wiggins. Like Wiggins is already sort of susceptible to this sort of magic as we saw earlier, and so I think this is going to be a easy target for the shaman. So only DC 10, and I'll say he has +2 to his wisdom. Okay, so yeah, for a round, Wiggins actually goes a little bit Wiggins gets commanded basically by the shaman, and the shaman tells him to attack Nyx. So with Nyx is once again like gonna see. Oh, she looks over at him to see what effect, because she saw him cast this sort of spell at Wiggins, and then Wiggins like brings his wand down from pointing at the shaman, turns around and like starts looking at Nyx in a not natural way. So she sort of backs off and fires off an arrow at the shaman, trying to end this thing. And she gets a 16. That's an 18 after her +2. And with that, she does 5 more. Actually, does she get... Yeah, so she gets +1 effort. So that's actually a 6. So 14. And with that, so she fires off this arrow at the shaman, and like it takes a chunk out of his like skeletal head. But he's not able to. It's not enough to just end him outright. And then Wiggins is going to, let's see, what is he? A 10. If you scored 50% of the more creature's HP and damage during the last round, creature makes a wisdom check. If it fails, the creature disengages, then moves away from the PC up to its movement allowance. So what sort of wisdom check would... Okay, so I think Wiggins gets a wisdom check in order to resist the domination of the shaman. So it's going to be... He's got a +2, so it's a 13 target. And so he makes it. But he basically needs to use his entire turn in order to do that. So what I'm going to say is, like, as Wiggins is sort of wrestling with his own mental state, he actually like is stalking towards Nyx, but then right before he gets to her, he snaps out of it. So now that we have the shaman once again, 74. We roll on the random combat event table. Okay. Let's see where is that table? I don't actually know where that table is, so we're going to go... Hopefully it doesn't take too long to find. Random combat event table. So instead of that, I'm just going to roll on the urban event table and try to take inspiration from that, because I don't want to sit here and look and try to find out where the hell this table is that they're referencing. So we're gonna take inspiration from this urban event table. It's a 77. So that's a protest. So I think, yeah, with Wiggins snapping out of the magical effect of the shaman, I think the shaman is gonna like sort of freak out and be angry, and instead and like he's gonna like yell at Wiggins, sort of drift closer over here, and instead of trying to cast a spell, he's going to take, I think in his like the shaman vestments that he has probably some sort of sacrificial dagger or a knife that he's then actually going to come down and uh, attempt to stab Nyx. So this is going to be target 13. I'll say he has a +1. So even with that, he still isn't even close. So he, yeah, comes down and slashes at her, but misses. Now Nyx, once again, now that the shaman's in range, she's actually gonna disregard her bow for a moment, take out her sword, and slash at him. Oh, gets a 2. That's unfortunate. But now Wiggins, with the shaman right up in their face, he actually is going to step back, use his magic wand in order to just blast him. And yeah, with a +2, that 14 beats the target 13. And then he's going to be able to slam some magical bolts into the skeletal frame of the shaman. Get a +3 for this. 18. 8 + 3, so that's 11. So that's 25 total effort. And with that, Wiggins steps back and just sort of blasts at the shaman. And all of his like skeletal remains, the hat that he's wearing, all like crumble to the ground. So with that, actually, so they're out of combat now. I think that was probably, we'll say that was about a minute, 2 minutes. So they've got about 4 minutes until the dungeon down there below them explodes. So in this room, they're going to continue looking around, and I think we know that the shaman has there's this dagger and this staff and this hat. I think so. We've got those 3 items. And the hat. So I think there's a decent chance that one of those is some sort of magical item that they might be able to take. And in the time, I think before they get out, I think they're going to have a chance to like look over these things. They're going to take the time to do that. But let's say, I'm going to say, are one of those 3 magical? I think that's likely. So even though so even though it's Chaos 4, it's still 50% chance. 92. Oh, so not only is it a no, it's a hell no. None of the staff, the hat, or the dagger are magical. They were just some like a spell casting focus or a sacrificial dagger that the shaman was using in order to facilitate his magic as like sort of a mental focus. So they take, I think with that hell no actually as well, they take an extra couple minutes because they're trying to make sure that these things aren't worth anything. But then they only have about 2 minutes left in order to get out. So they're going to go up this spiral staircase. And then I think, what are the chances that they get up past that and they find their way just like directly out of one of the I guess a storehouse, some sort of door down to the dungeon. I think it's very likely. So at Chaos 4, we have a 65% chance that they're able to make it and basically be out in the castle again. So 67. So no, they just barely. So the way I interpret that is what's going to happen is they have. I'll say they have about 2 minutes. left until there. This is sort of like the internal clock of Wiggins' head. He's like, we're running out of time. We got to go. So when they come up to this, the top of the stairwell here, they actually find another room, and we're gonna figure out what is in that room. We're gonna see what the size of the room is right here. So we have our D20, 17. So this is another different sized room. It's a hexagonal room. That they find themselves in, but the difference about this hexagonal room, they have to climb the stairs for a good 20-30 seconds, so they're going a way up. So, but in this hexagonal room, they're able to see windows and some of the sunlight streaking through. So they know that if they can get out of this room, that they'll be free from the dungeon and we'll be able to get out. But we're gonna figure out what's in that room on the next scene here. So I think that's a decent scene. Update the cast and the threads. I don't think we really have the exploding dungeon thread is sort of still looming. We don't have any new cast members. So for scene 17, we have chaos go up or down. Do they sort of have control over this? I think they did, actually. So Chaos 3. Chaos 3, target 12 is what's going to happen with that. So with that, I'm going to end the scene there, and we're going to see you next time.